Hey everyone, kind of getting back on kind of late. Normally I would have been back on at 1:30 Eastern time, but I did want to jump back on before the day ends because I want to point out kind of what I'm seeing right now. I'm looking at the NASDAQ futures, and initially I had drawn this trend channel here with the border on the bottom is red and the border on top is this purple color. And if I zoom out, it's just traded in and out of that channel. It's been very volatile today. Right now, I think the bottom is falling out of this. I say that just because the bears have been on a very sustained, aggressive campaign to keep this down. And the 15-minute bar just closed. 1 second here. Looks like the bears are making another go at it. But basically, you see where the stochastics are in the 1 minute chart, and you see where the stochastics. Obviously, this is bearish on the 4 minute chart. If I move over and I show you the 15, it literally just made this bearish stochastic crossover. Got the same thing on the 1 hour chart. The problem is the 1 minute stochastic keeps trying to make its way back up, but it keeps getting batted down by the bears. So that's very, that obviously it's price getting batted down by the bears. To say that's bearish, it seems like kind of redundant, but it's true. There's just not getting any chance. The bulls are not getting any chance to drive this price up. And where the bears are trying to take it is down here and probably around here in the interim. So those, excuse me, so those are your price targets. Yeah, I mean, the bulls are just really getting abused on this one. And that makes things kind of tricky because, looking at that 1 minute chart, when it's so oversold, I don't like to initiate a short position because I'm just waiting for it to rip right back up against me. But when you see it keep trying to cross, when you see the stochastics keep trying to cross back above oversold and they're constantly getting batted down, that's telling you something. That's telling you that there is just not enough buyers. There's more sellers than buyers right now. And look at that. I'm going to get out because, okay, that was really good. And I was looking for it to bounce off of that level. It's hard to say where this should really be. I tried to place it where these are either opening or closing prices on the candle. If you move it all the way down to the lowest wick, and it doesn't matter because it just pierced right through there. So we have literally just watched it in the last, I don't know, 5 minutes cross from positive to negative. And this is happening across the board. And so really, if you want to play this short, because the selling is so aggressive right now, the best that you can hope for is just like, I hate to say it, but waiting for the selling to stop and then for some buying to kick in. But once you see that buying is getting batted back down again, then it's time to be a seller. You want to sell into strength. You want to buy into weakness. You want to sell into strength. And it's really hard to say where would be the ideal place to buy. But the thing is, if I look here, every attempt for the bulls to push this up out of oversold has immediately been smacked down. I mean, they just don't even get a chance. So now we're getting a little bit of a respite here. I mean, it's actually been able to form. Well, it's been able to do that before. Like, it's forming a second bar now, at least. But that's looking like it's going to get smacked down too. So about 53 minutes left in the session. It's obvious to say that this price is either going to continue to go down, or it's going to move up, or it's going to move sideways. That's obvious. This is going to get pushed down to a level eventually, because right now developing value area is here, or the bottom. This is the developing value area. This is the point of control. Well below the point of control is where most time has been spent, not volume, time. If I add the volume component to it, it's not that far off. This is volume, this is time. When you see that they're way off, you question the validity of either. But when you see them, volatility is spiking down on this particular symbol, and it's kind of looking, you can tell just by looking at the price action, the selling is over for now. Volatility on the S&P is up 3.6%. Gold's up barely. So, why isn't gold flight to safety here? Maybe because of dollar strength. We're in kind of an unusual set of circumstances now because we have an economy that's doing well. Rates are increasing. That is having a tempering effect on economic growth. The job of the Fed is price stability at the end of the day. The Fed does not do the best job of it because that's why you have expansion and recession. It's, you're using a very blunt instrument. But this campaign of sustained selling, it began at 12:30, right around 12:30, and it may not. That I had read something about shale drillers had produced the most ever in like the month of November, which that was 3 months ago, 4 months ago. But you read that. Okay, I don't remember where I saw that. This, on top of the fact that the API and EIA numbers have both come in showing a bigger build than was expected. Oil surge sent U.S. oil production to a record high in November. That was the headline I was looking for. That's according to Bloomberg. So with oil above 60, that's seems to be the threshold where drillers add rigs. I mean, the Baker Hughes rig count last week, they only added 1 rig. So it wasn't, that wasn't really earth-shattering. This is interesting. It says, once the world's largest importer of crude, this is the United States, the U.S. is passing Saudi Arabia and closing in on Russia to become the world's largest producer. May 1920. 20 after 3 now on the East Coast, another 40 minutes or so. This, if this closes bearish, which it looks like it will, I mean there's still 40 minutes left, we could see a big surge, but if it does, then that's going to set the tone for the overnight session. I was wrong about one thing. I thought today was going to be a quieter session. It has not been at all. I had expected that with there being so much economic data coming out tomorrow that a lot of investors and traders would just be kind of holding their breath until tomorrow. The data that came out today, though, got people thinking. Okay, trailing stops. This level was an important one to close below. It was pushing below it. That was the low of this bar here. the fact, and now it's pushing out of value area, making its way down towards the bottom Bollinger Band here. Ah. Problem with some of these moves is they're very short-lived. It's a little choppy now. As I'm experiencing firsthand. Oh, God, I'm calling it wrong. My problem is staying in too long. 30 minutes to go. 29 and a half actually, but this buying is losing steam.